gotta make it out to Vegas, where the lights shine bright. Vegas, in the clear desert night. Vegas, where they can make you a star. Vegas, at the NFR.
NFR Extra is a podcast dedicated to the Wrangler National Finals Rodeo and features icons and personalities that embody the Western lifestyle.
So I'm going to ask the stereotypical South African question. Have you been in a shark cage?
I have.
You have?
Yeah.
Okay. So would you ride a bull then?
No, I wouldn't ride a bull. No ways would I. If I was sitting in a cage and I could sit on the bull, maybe.
Yeah. Have you had a cavity filled? Would you amputate your foot?
And during the week of the 2 weeks of the NFR, and even during Las Vegas days, we have horses basically walking up and down Main Street.
Yeah.
And the mayor's looking out of her window, and there's horses there. And the city councilmen are all looking at, they all text me, what are you doing out here? There's horses walking up and down Main Street. And the best thing somebody told me, they said, if anybody could see this, he'd be smiling in his grave. Right. Because to see downtown with horses walking up and down is pretty cool.
Yeah, 100%.
This is pro rodeo announcer Andy Seiler, and you are listening to NFR Extra.
We are here today with Jonathan Jossel, the CEO of the Plaza. And Jonathan, let's just jump right into it. I want to know your background and what brought you into this industry.
The industry being Las Vegas and the casino industry,
yes,
right?
Sir.
So I was born in South Africa, grew up in England, in London. And in 2003, I was actually doing a thesis in England. I loved gambling. I love sports betting. I love all forms of gambling. And as a consumer back then, I was into it. And I was studying then the impact of what would happen if Las Vegas-style casinos opened up in England. Literally, that was the title of the thesis. And through my family friends, I met a gentleman by the name of Poyu Zabludovic, who had just invested in downtown Las Vegas. And he said, I bought 6 casinos. And I said, well, it's not every day you meet someone who says that.
Yeah, that's no joke.
And he had bought them from Jackie Gorn. Now, you guys are probably definitely familiar with Michael Gorn.
Sure. That's
Michael's father. And so he was really the pioneer of downtown Las Vegas. He was involved in all the deals between him, Boyd, Mal Exper. Those guys all built basically what is today downtown Las Vegas. And so Poyu had bought this portfolio of 6 casinos with the vision of the revitalization of downtown. And he needed someone on the ground. And I took the opportunity of work experience. And I went out. I came out there in 2005. Any of you downtown in 2005? You definitely weren't.
I definitely wasn't. Sorry.
I wasn't there legally, but
I was.
Was there any stampedes down there?
Well, it went just trying to run away from things. But yeah.
right, exactly. So I came out there in 2005, and I was like, okay, this is cool that you bought these casinos. But after about 3 or 4 weeks, they said, thanks for the opportunity, but I'm out of here. And I was only 21 at the time. So I said to him, I went back to England, worked for him because I'd made good relationships within his company. And just 2 years later, he came to me and said, hey, downtown Vegas is starting to change. And I need someone on the ground there and you're the only person I work with that isn't married or tied to any other reason to stay in London. And I just broken up with my girlfriend and I was looking for a change. And I'm 23. And I was like, you know what? I'll go out there for 3 months or whatever and try it again. Although I was like, but by the way, 2 years ago was terrible. So I'm not that excited about this. I went out there in 2007 and I landed. I went to the Plaza. I was like, okay, this place is still a dump. Not much has changed. We went to this bar called the Downtown Cocktail Room. Any of you guys familiar with that? Mm-hmm. And in the bar, there was like 3 people. And I started talking to them. And one of them was building a high-rise downtown. One of them owned the bar. And one of them just loved what downtown was. And these 3 young guys became my best friends. And between the 4 of us, we started talking about, well, how can we change the face of downtown? How can we start doing things down here that are cool? And this is 2007. So no one's down there. Of course, then there was a recession. But that's basically how I ended up here because I believed there was an opportunity in Vegas to make a difference. In England, everything is so established and built out. It's very hard to make a difference. But in downtown, there was this blank canvas. And to a degree, there's still this huge opportunity down there to develop it. But there's nowhere else in the world you can do what we're doing down there and try new things, build new things, be creative. And so it was just an interesting opportunity for me, and decided that after 3 months became 6 months, became 9 months, ultimately met my wife, who's from San Diego. And now I love it. Been living there for 16 years.
That's pretty interesting because from my limited perception of this, you say that, and I've never been to London, but that everything's established there. And you would think that from an outsider's perspective of coming to Las Vegas to where, okay, this is almost played out. And then if you want to be part of something, you have to go down here to where it's happening. You saw kind of a pulse on something that most people would have considered dead. So was there any other direction that you saw on revitalizing the downtown? And it's like, no, we can really do this. Because there had to have been a lot of other people that maybe tried that, but it just was like, no, don't touch that.
I think there was a lot of people prior that had ideas about it. But I think to your point, Las Vegas, everyone thinks of the Strip.
Right.
No one was thinking about downtown back
Right.
then. Now, at that time, the only other person who was really championing it was the Mayor Oscar Goodman.
Mm-hmm.
And he was really a force that said the city has to come back to its core. And Vegas began in downtown. That's where the history is. If you look at all the history books of where it began in 1906, it's all downtown. Everything was happening there. But to your point, the Strip was established. Downtown needed some new energy, some new blood, some new ideas of how could it come back. And I think some of the stories I've heard about the casino owners back in the 50s and 60s, they were just stuck in their ways. They weren't
Right.
willing to try new things. And so the Strip overtook it in a massive way. And that's where downtown needed this new ideas to come back.
And you guys have quite a few renovations going on. That it's been a long time coming.
Yeah, so we actually sold the Las Vegas club. So of the 6 casinos that this guy owned, that Poyu owned, most of them were sold off. One of them was sold to Derek Stevens, who built Circa across the street from us. We used to own the Las Vegas club that was there, and so we sold a bunch of the properties. One was sold to Tony Hsieh when he was coming into downtown with Zappos and he was a huge catalyst into what happened in downtown and putting it on the map and getting people talking about it in a positive way. And then at the Plaza, we were remodeling it. Basically, it started in 2010 when we shut down and we bought all the furniture from the Fontainebleau. The Fontainebleau went bankrupt in 2007 or 8. We bought all the furniture from it, remodeled the Plaza, but we only touched certain areas of it, and that was a mistake. We should have done the whole thing at that time. A lot of people said you should knock it down and build from scratch. I took a different view. I thought we could really improve it. It had great bones, just needed a lot of love and tender care.
Sure.
So we bought all the furniture from the Fontainebleau, started the remodel, and that was the first phase of it. But then over the last few years, we've redone the pool deck, we've redone the convention floor, we added the pickleball courts to the pool, we've built a few new food and beverage outlets, and then most recently we redid the whole casino floor, all new slot product, new casino carpet, and then more recently last year we opened the carousel bar. I shouldn't say last year. We opened it last month, but we started building it last year. We opened the carousel bar, Pink Box Donuts, which is 70 flavors of donuts, a giant pink donut in the front of it. Have you guys seen it?
Oh yeah.
A lot of people gave me flack for it, said it's a little nuts to do that in the front of the building, but actually it's been very well received. It's fun. We still have the iconic lights under the Plaza. The carousel bar is great. And then next to the carousel bar, we have a small little venue we built, which is our smoke-free casino. It's the first of its kind downtown. It's casino that's smoke-free.
Sure.
And then on the roof of that, we have a patio, an outdoor patio for our steakhouse, which is called Oscar's, named after Oscar Goodman, the former mayor. And he's our partner in that. And we have this outdoor patio, which is great. Really nice.
I think it's awesome, too, that with all the new things you're doing, you still kept some of that old school flair, because Oscar's does have that casino, Goodfellas kind of vibe, so it's, you do have the new coming, but you also are kind of tipping your cap to the days of old as well.
It's so hard to do that, and yet it just sort of feels like it happens organically. I love that you say that. Thank you, because we want that. We want to keep that feeling. A lot of that feeling comes from the people. Some of the servers in Oscars have been there since day one. They've got the history. They've worked there. They understand the culture. A lot of that comes from the people, because the truth is we've redone the entire building. There's not a single part of it that looks like there, but the lighting, the music, the effects create that feeling. But if you look at the building from the outside, other than the light bulbs, which people love, we have these murals on the building, which are very new. We have the Pink Box Donuts, we have the carousel bar, we have the pickleball courts. So we're constantly changing it, but yet trying to tie back to the history of it and honor that.
What's with pickleball?
It's a great question.
I'm just curious. I'm not a pickleball enthusiast, but that's one of those things.
Can I tell my story I told you?
Absolutely.
So pickleball, is a sport that was, I guess it started becoming popular during the pandemic. It's become wildly popular. Since then, it's the fastest growing sport in America. That's not because one person played it, now 2 people played it, so it grew 100%.
Right.
There's thousands of people playing it now. Sunset Park's got a huge facility all over the country. It's being talked about. We invested in 2017. We built this facility. It's to tell you what it is. It's if tennis and table tennis had a baby.
Okay.
It would be pickleball. It's a wiffle ball, and it's a fun game. And it's just exploded. So we have 16 courts at the Plaza. We do conventions. We have companies buying them out. We have private events. We do tournaments. We have recreational play on the weekends. But last week I got a call from Zach Bryan, his manager, who played at T-Mobile in a sold-out arena. And all he wanted to do before playing T-Mobile was play pickleball with his team. So they all came down and played pickleball at the Plaza last weekend. And it's something we're leaning into, because my view on everything in business, but downtown especially, is where else in the world could I build 16 pickleball courts in 2017? It's sort of why I play up the bingo thing. It's sort of why I do the equestrian center and the rodeo downtown. It gives us a way to differentiate and to bring people to downtown to experience different things. So pickleball everyone laughed at me at first. They're like, well, hold on, this isn't NFL, this isn't MLB, this isn't UFC. What are you doing? What's pickleball? But now they're like, okay,
Pickleball.
yeah, it's pickleball.
Yeah, that forward thinking that kind of got you there. And in that pickleball conversation, you made mention of equestrian center.
Yeah.
Visit with me about that.
So you'll appreciate this, but about 5 years ago, I was sitting there in December, and it was our slowest time of the year. And it was between that period of Thanksgiving and Christmas, and no one's in Vegas. Sorry, everyone's in Vegas, but not at our place.
Right.
And I'm thinking, so what am I doing? How do I get these people? And I would walk down Fremont, and the Golden Nugget was busy, and not everyone was busy, but then you go to the Strip, and there's just cowboys everywhere and people everywhere, and I can say that, right?
Yeah.
And it was just busy everywhere. So I said, well, how do I get this? So I called LVE, and I talked to Pat Christensen and Bo, and they said, you got to sponsor LVE and become a partner of the whole thing. So we did that. And it started out good, but that wasn't quite enough. And then the next evolution of that was, well, how can we build activations on our site and grow into this? And that's where the idea was. We have 17 acres downtown of land that was undeveloped. And so the idea was, if you build this equestrian center with 2 different arenas within it, it has 3,000 seats. During the NFR, we go up to about 250 stalls. We could compete and bring a new demographic to downtown that wasn't coming there, and do events. Obviously, in the summer, it's not enclosed, so in the summer it's a little too hot for it. But my inspiration for it was, I mentioned his name in the beginning, Jackie Gore's son, Michael Gore. Yep. I love what he does at South Point. So if I could be a mini version of that downtown Las Vegas, and he's a mentor and a great friend and someone I look up to, so I could bounce ideas off of him and talk to him about it. And if I could learn a little, 10% of what he does, 5% of what he does, it would be great for downtown. So that's where the idea came from. And it was a little risk, because I'll be honest, I didn't know a lot about rodeo and equestrian. And so it was a learning curve for me, and I'm still learning about it. But we have this facility that we activate now, and we do other events there. We have the Las Vegas Days Parade, which used to be the Eldorado, not the parade, Las Vegas Days Rodeo, which used to be the Eldorado. Mm-hmm. And then during NFR, we have events for the entire 2 weeks, basically.
Well, it's great, too, because those events that you guys have during the NFR, I mean, we talk about with the Junior World Finals that LVE hosts, that it gives the youth an opportunity to make actual money while they're out here. And since there's multiple events at multiple locations, you're not only exposing your property, but you're giving the youth of our sport an opportunity to compete. So that's awesome on y'all's behalf.
I appreciate that. Thank you.
Well, and I think overall, when you think about like our demographic, with that youth comes the families, right? And that's the reality of Las Vegas. We want to ensure that this continues to grow. And what your property has been able to do is now cater to all demographics within that. Like you think about even Las Vegas Days in its own, you now have this opportunity for a family night for locals, but you also are getting that flow from Fremont that now they get to come watch this rodeo for free.
Right.
And that's something that they don't experience anytime throughout the year. What are your rodeo dates this year?
November 10th and 11th is Las Vegas Days. And then obviously the first 2 weeks of the NFL will have different events out there and activations. But I agree with you. The Las Vegas Days is very cool to see, to give people and young people the opportunity. I did take my son to do some mutton busting. It was a disaster.
And we thought swimming with sharks was a bad idea. Yeah.
my wife was out of town, and I put my son on a sheep, and she was like, "What are you doing?" And then he wasn't placed correctly, apparently, and the sheep ran into the wall, and he hit his head on the thing and fell down. It was great. It was a really good first experience.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's great for kids to expose them to that, and for the community to have a rodeo. I don't know of anyone else that's doing them, at least professional and to that level. And we want to build on that. We want to do other events. We want to keep growing our contribution to the community. So thank you for that.
I think that one thing, minus the traumatic experience that your son obviously had with the mutton busting, but when Bo Gardner talked about wanting to do the Junior World Finals and starting off with that, I personally thought this is a nightmare waiting to happen with logistics of what you're wanting to do. But he had a vision and went forward with it and just continued to grow. And kind of the story that I'm building up on this is that, before I had children myself, everybody would say like, oh man, Vegas is no place for kids or no place for a family. And on the contrary my youngest daughter and her birthday is December 13th. And that my family loves coming to Las Vegas. And I think that, it's a very family friendly place. And when you have those places that it's not, this is no kids allowed, but you just allow that to where like, yes, this is a great experience. We're giving a platform for them to compete, to have the next generation to be here. And it's not something to where the parents say like, well, I'm going to Vegas, but I can't take the kids. You have that to where like, I'm going to Vegas. And whether it's, the rodeo in November, or if it's the NFR in December, bring the family, and you can see what a plethora of opportunity there is for the whole entire family to have an outstanding time.
I totally agree with you, but make me feel better. Did you let your kids, when they were 4 years old, mutton bust?
Oh yeah.
Okay,
yeah.
good.
Yeah. Yeah, I did. No, I'm not saying that you're a bad parent. I'm just saying what was formerly known as abuse is now called entertainment. Right. And if you don't straighten up, I'm going to mutton bust you again.
Right. He was like, I'm not doing that next time.
So you're raising them right.
I agree with you. And I think that actually as we need to do more to lean into that. And I think that's why having those outdoor event centers where you have place for kids to perform and enjoy the city is so important, because if you don't have that, then what are they supposed to do all day?
Right.
And so we have that. And I love the idea that we can have people riding their horses, competing, as we say, kiss your horse goodnight outside on the parking lot, and then come
inside. That is so cool.
Come inside and have a steak and a martini if you want. Not the kids, but
right.
If you want them to sleep good,
right.
But it's also smart on your part, because you're not only building these other family activations, but you're inspiring the next generation to come to Vegas, which, selfishly, you also want that to be your next customer. But you're giving an opportunity to create that customer versus just telling people, hey, you need to come here. Well, now you're giving them a reason why.
Yeah, and we also have the Downtown Christmas Expo, which has really grown into an amazing trade show downtown, and we've got great partners in that. So I think that that's another thing for people to be doing. There's the what's the thing called when you have the fake horse, the little thing, and they rope it?
Oh, the horse saver.
Yeah.
Oh, the dummy roping. The dummy roping. Yeah.
Yeah,
we got the dummy roping in front there. So we did that so that the kids have a place to go as well instead of the casino.
And that's, later, whatever. But that go back to your kids. Give me $10 for cotton candy. I need it back. But that sort of stuff there too is like the kids love it. And the same thing as Cowboy Christmas is you have those things to where the parents can do stuff, the kids can do stuff. Everybody's entertained on it. But I think it's just a really positive direction to go, because it's also really kind of like how the downtown, where you saw that of like, there's something to be had here, is you can almost do that with Las Vegas and kind of build a new direction and mindset with everybody to where like, don't take your kids to Vegas. And you look at all the other sporting events that are coming here to where Las Vegas it's a great city, and it does have something for everybody.
Well, we have the 250 horse stalls down there, and then we also have the overflow parking. And during the week of the 2 weeks of the NFR, and even during Las Vegas days, we have horses basically walking up and down Main Street.
Yeah.
And the mayor's looking out of her window, and there's horses there. And the city councilmen are all looking, and they all text me, what are you doing out here? There's horses walking up and down Main Street. And the best thing somebody told me, they said, if Benny Binion was alive, if Benny Binion could see this, he'd be smiling in his grave. Right. Because to see downtown with horses walking up and down is pretty cool.
Yeah, 100%.
Absolutely. Could you imagine like sitting in a room with him today and talking about the evolution that is happening downtown, just at your property alone? Like in that sense, when you think about the impact that he had in the Western lifestyle, let alone the NFR coming to this town, What do you think that conversation would be just a little bit about?
It'd be awesome. It'd be great. I mean, I would love to do that. I'd love to be able to talk to him and Jackie Gorn, just the two of them together, just to hear that history and how they understood taking care of people, which people just don't get anymore. But the key to it all is how you take care of people. And those two guys got it better. One, I think Benny probably got it better with the customer, and Jackie got it better with his own team members. But between them, they just knew how to take care of people and give people a good time. And that's really all it's about. And that would be a good conversation. If you could make that podcast, that would be pretty cool.
Yeah.
Wow, wouldn't that be something?
Yeah.
I will say, we were talking earlier today on a couple other notes, just Vegas and hospitality. Touch a little bit on what you have just been a part of, like coming from London, I guess I will say, because I think those are two very different worlds as a customer that walks into a hotel. What are the kind of the differences when you think about like what Vegas has to offer versus anywhere else in the world?
Well, there's sort of two parts to that. So the idea in Vegas is, and I take great pride in this in downtown, I think we all do, is the idea that we are present owners of our business. We're not publicly held. We're not shareholders. We're not. We're the present owners of the business. We're living there. We're breathing it. We're getting to see it day to day with our team members. It's very hard to see that in Las Vegas anymore. It used to be that way, but now everything is publicly owned, corporate, a lot more corporate. And so we're down there in downtown, and there's a really good feeling of ownership and caring about the outcome of it. And the mistake people make is they think in downtown we're all competing, but we're really not. I want everyone to do well downtown because it only brings more people to downtown. So when a new casino opens, it's great for all of us. A new restaurant opens, it's great for all of us. As East Fremont develops, as the Arts District develops, as Symphony Park with 800 residential units develops, this is only good for all of us downtown. So there's this great camaraderie that we're all trying to build something bigger. And by being present owners, we take a deeper sense of care in terms of how we take care of people. And I do think that the feedback I hear from customers is, it's great that they get to meet us and they get to talk to us and they get to tell us their concerns. And I know what their kids are doing. I know what their families are doing. And it's not just me, but it's my whole team cares about the people, gets to know them. There isn't this cold sense. And I'm not knocking anyone else. I just hear that downtown that's happening, and people love that connection is happening. It's very hard to compare it to England because culturally here, there's just this level of friendliness where you want to talk to everyone. England is people a little bit more standoff. They wait. Once they get to know you, they're much more comfortable. But there isn't this sense of just walk up to everyone and talk to them. And I think in Las Vegas, we really do a good job of that and making people feel special, getting to know them, and giving them that experience that they come for.
Let's take a quick pause, and we'll be right back. Want to relive the best NFR moments from the last 37 years? We've got you covered at nfrexperience.com. Check out the NFR History tab at the website for a walk, or should we say gallop, down memory lane. You'll find images, recaps, and videos from the greatest moments from the last 37 years in Las Vegas. From Ty Murray to Trevor Brazil, Louis Field to Casey, Charmaine James to Mary Berger, Fred Whitfield to Joe Beaver, and everything in between, you'll find it here. There's something for all rodeo fans. Check it out at nfrexperience.com, because legacies and memories are made in Vegas.
So I'm going to ask the stereotypical South African question. Have you been in a shark cage?
I have.
You have?
Yeah.
Okay. So would you ride a bull then?
No, I wouldn't ride a bull. No ways would I. If I was sitting in a cage and I could sit on the bull, maybe.
Yeah. Have you had a cavity filled? Would you amputate your foot? That's
I don't think those compare at all, because
think
to
so
me, mind you, I do have severe anxiety and I fear fish like no other. It's pathetic. But a
she
shark
won't eat
cage,
sushi.
there's
Yeah.
no way in heck. Put me on a bull, okay.
Well, but the
like you're
Shark Tank,
protected.
what do you protect on the bull?
right.
Well, you're
I'm
protected. You have a helmet and a vest. You're fine. You have guys that are going to circle the bull away from you. Like if a shark bites you, nobody's
How's a
saving you.
biting
Isn't it-
through the cage?
What if the cage breaks? There's nobody to save you in that
There's a
instance.
lot of- all
If
right.
the helmet breaks,
But then
somebody
a
is
unicorn
going to
flies
just
down,
pull
and
it
this
away.
is we're going down a rabbit hole, Brian. Holy
No,
cow!
I'm going in the Shark Tank any day before I'm riding the bull.
Really?
Really?
That's not even close.
Andy, what do you?
No, I would definitely get on a bull.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
but
mean,
you've probably done that before.
no, actually,
you
I've
haven't?
never, no, I ride horses and stuff, but I have no reason to get on a bull. But I watched Jaws at a young age, and so I
Jaws
want,
does scare
I want
everyone
nothing
from
to
doing
do
it.
with any sort of cage. No, I'm good.
Yeah, no, I've done it. It wasn't that bad. The water's cold.
Oh, I'm
the water's
sure.
colder than it's scarier than the sharks.
Mm.
Yeah, no, it's not like the movies where they're banging their heads into the cage until they get to you.
But they smell fear, so I'm as good as dead. Like they'd be like, "We've got this guy."
We've got this guy. Yeah.
Oh.
So what would be
Thank you.
like the biggest culinary difference between South Africa and here?
I mean, it's totally different. They have they call it a braai, not a barbecue.
Okay.
A braai is basically a barbecue, but with different types of South African meats. But basically, the main difference to me is just you're eating fish fresh out of the sea. Here, you're eating it fresh, but it's coming from somewhere else. So they have very traditional South African fish like kingklip, sole, which are delicious,
Mhm.
come out of the fish, come out of the ocean day one, and you're eating it right there and then in Cape Town. Whereas here it's being flown in from somewhere else. Now, if you're sitting in a restaurant, a fancy restaurant, they might say this fish was in Greece yesterday, and you can never prove if that's true or not. It could have been in Lake Mead, but
I hope not.
they're telling you it was in Greece yesterday, and you're
Yeah.
believing them, and you're paying a lot for it. But
Sounds good.
right. But the freshness of their seafood is hard to beat.
And see, Steve's in cattle country, and I love fresh beef as well. But to me, it's very, very difficult to beat fresh fish. Like
Oh, yeah.
when you catch it, and clean it and cook it that night. I mean, it is very, very difficult to beat
Yeah.
fresh fish.
No, for sure. They do have a really good steak there as well. Really good. You ever had boerewors? You ever had biltong? It's like
Are you speaking English?
Yeah. I think we
biltong
lost
is,
him.
It's like it's jerky. It's South African
Okay,
jerky.
okay.
It's. I'm gonna get you guys a bag of it. You're gonna love it.
So what would be something strange that they eat in South Africa that we don't have here?
I don't know. Strange crocodile. Is that strange?
Well,
Yes.
I mean, we have gator
He's
meat.
from
You can-
Florida.
yeah,
Do you eat crocodile?
Nah, I eat gator, but I don't.
You do eat gator. It
yeah.
just probably tastes like chicken.
Yes, it does.
Yeah, you
Very
eat
chewy.
alligator. Yeah, it's true.
Okay.
So, how old were you when you moved to London?
I was young. I was 6, but we would go back to South Africa a lot. I had family there. Spent a lot of time going back there. From England, it's not that hard to get there. It's a long flight, but there's no time change. From here, it's terrible.
Oh man,
Here, it's
the
impossible.
other side of the
Yeah.
world.
I think it's as far away from here as anywhere in the. Yeah, it's pretty much as far as you can. It's about 22 hours from here flying, and there's nothing direct. You're stopping somewhere.
Oh,
Yeah,
No, thank you.
It's a long way from here. But I grew up in England. I mean, I definitely grew up there, and there's not much rodeo in England or South Africa.
But now in England, it's more, I guess, normal, I guess I will use, but to see like polo and those things, like there still is a equestrian side of the world.
There's
there.
horse
Oh,
racing.
horse
yeah.
racing's huge in England.
Yeah.
Sorry, horse racing's probably bigger there than it is here. They love horse racing there. I mean, there's horse racing every single day, and there's big races. I mean, yeah, no, the horse racing is huge in England, and they're polos for very fancy, wealthy people. But no, there's no rodeo that I'm aware of. But yeah, definitely horse racing and polo, and I didn't do any of those things growing up there. Play rugby, cricket, football.
You played rugby?
Oh yeah,
Oh gosh.
Yeah.
That's a different level. Like I mean, I'm a huge football fan, and I know you guys have books and stuff, and I love sports betting, but rugby is like that's a totally different level of toughness.
yeah, it is. I remember one time being tackled, and it was freezing cold in England, and I was laying in the mud with some like guys piling on top of you. I was like, yeah, I'm done.
and that's
What
where
are we doing
This will
here?
be the last time I ever.
Yeah.
I'll switch back to tennis.
that's where the dream of pickleball came.
My next business card.
Where's pickleball come from? We had to.
CEO.
that's when I switched to pickleball.
Dad, I'm holding out for a management position.
Yeah.
You're laughing now. You're going to read about pickleball after. This.
I have no doubt, but that's where I mean, yeah.
Well, this is when I knew we were in trouble. I was in an airport the other day, and it was a slow sports day. But sure enough, on ESPN2, there was a pickleball tournament. And I'm like, we are watching unathletic people play
yeah.
a sport on national television.
Cornhole. Is
It's a
Well,
sport for everybody.
It's true. It is true.
I guess.
I mean, it's funny though, because in between games, if you watch like Wimbledon, they're drinking water and Gatorade in between games.
Yeah.
Like for pickleball, they're slamming beers and they're,
Yeah.
their
You
pep
lose,
talks
you
are a lot
lose.
shorter,
Yeah.
Uh,
We got way off track, and I wanted to go back to this, but on Oscars, you got me on the slamming the beer side. Kind of excited on,
Do you slam a beer at Oscars?
Well, that's where I was
Please
going with it.
don't.
It doesn't seem like one of those deals. But is the martini? It's the Oscars. The martini is kind of the staple drink there. Is that correct?
Yeah, and he has it with the jalapeno, which
Okay.
I like olives. He likes a jalapeno. We do this very cool thing. If you guys haven't been, I'd love to have you at the next one, where Oscar tells old stories about his old clients. You're familiar with who
Yeah,
his clients
right.
were.
Yeah.
So he represented the mob prior to becoming the mayor in 2001, maybe. He became the mayor, and then now his wife's the current mayor.
Right.
She ran after him. So they've been mayors for 25 years. But he was the most popular mayor in the history of Las Vegas in terms of vote counts. And he did a great job. But prior to that, he was the attorney to the mob, and he had very interesting clients. He played himself in the movie Casino. And so in the movie Casino, he's the attorney to the mob. He's representing Robert De Niro, Tony Spilotro, but Tony Spilotro was his client in real life. And there's a statue of them in Oscars. There's a few stories of that. But during these dinner series, once a quarter or once every 2 months, it's called the Oscars Dinner Series. He'll tell stories. So you guys should come to the next one.
Wow.
3 of you should join us. And it's pretty great. And he's getting older. And to be honest with you, there aren't characters like that anymore in Las Vegas. There's just, it isn't happening like that.
Right.
So to hear these stories firsthand and the things that were going on is pretty cool if you want to understand the history of Vegas.
So what is that just open to anybody that can come to Oscars, and it's kind of
No, so we sell tickets to it. It's
Okay.
the ticket includes dinner, a martini that he drinks with the jalapeno, wine, and then you hear the stories. He usually talks, depends on if he has too many drinks or if he goes. But he usually talks for about 40 minutes.
wow.
And then we do a Q&A. It's pretty much always the same questions in the Q&A, but people ask them anyway. And we probably can, the room holds about 120 people, but it's usually the same 60 or 70 people that want to come back and hear the stories, and then about 40 or 50 new people each time.
Wow.
It's pretty cool.
That was my very first year, again, at the convention center when we were trying to get everything kicked off. Bo Gardner had me, and we're doing a media meet and greet. And this old guy comes walking down with a martini and 2 showgirls on either side. And I go, who's this guy? And it's like, mind you, it's like 8 a.m. I don't know. I mean, if that was his first martini, I don't know.
Probably his third.
Yeah. And I go, who is that? And he goes, that's the mayor. I was like, God, I love this city. Like, this is amazing.
Well, if you want to hear something great, when he was the mayor, Poyu, who's the gentleman that sent me out here in 2007, in 2006, he had a meeting with Oscar, and he had never met him. Now, if you've met Poyu, he's got a heavy accent. He's from Finland. So he goes to the meeting with Oscar, not knowing what to expect, sort of like you. He's like, wow. And the guy's on a throne. And he says to him, so what are your intentions with the Plaza? So he starts talking. He says, let me stop you now. It's a blight on downtown. You need to make it great. And if you don't, I have some clients that owe me a favor, and I'll take it to the ground. Now, if you're a guy from Finland who's got no idea, you just walked into a room with this, and he's basically threatening you with arson on the Plaza. You're like, oh, okay.
Yeah, sounds good. So we're going to focus on that right now.
And now he's our partner.
That's
Wow.
awesome. But with that, so I mean, obviously the Night with Oscar is what that's called.
The Oscars Dinner Series.
Oscars Dinner Series, and then the jalapeno martini.
Mhm.
So what would be the best, if you said you have to have this at Oscars, what meal am I shooting for?
Have you ever had a rib cap?
Yes.
I'd go, you got your hands up.
It's heavenly.
Yeah.
Rib cap, yeah, I'm a rib cap guy now. I never was. And to be honest, it's tough because most places when you travel don't have rib caps.
Yeah.
But at Oscars, it's really special. I don't necessarily always love the New York steak, but I do at Oscars.
Steak at Oscars.
I'm in New York, or rib cap. Or what you do is we go the 4 of us, you go family style. You get a ribeye, rib cap, New York, slice it and do family style. And then to start, you got to have a burger and a martini.
A burger and a martini to start.
Mm.
That's a lot. Now but I'd also be like one of those sharks you swam with where my eyes roll
Yeah.
black and you give me 4 martinis and just reaching for stuff. See the cage.
Yeah. Oh, that's what I do.
Yeah, that's impressive. Yeah.
Well, when you're a professional pickleball player, you need to get
Yeah.
you need to get
Real athlete.
when you're real athletes, you got to get the energy levels up.
Yeah. So, well, that's incredible. And so, yeah, that's going to be a lot. But the rib cap and the jalapeno martini are definitely going to be, I think, on my to-do list. And
Yeah,
to hear
that's
Oscar say some of those stories would be, I mean, that is like, because every time I fly, I live in Montana. So every time I fly to Vegas, I have to mentally prepare. So I watch Casino and just, I know which parts to fast forward through and get to and watch it. But
So
that is,
there's a scene in Casino where Sharon and Robert De Niro are having a fight
Mm.
in a restaurant. That's in Oscars.
no kidding.
That's in
Oh.
Oscars. There's 2 scenes. One's Piero's where they have
Okay.
a fight, and there's another one where they have a fight in Oscars. And when you come to Oscars next time, there's 2 things that remain from the movie. There's the gold handrails, which are the same ones as before. And then there's the reflection in the glass. So next time you come, I'll show you that booth where they're having that famous fight. And what I tell everyone to watch that movie, because it's actually an incredible insight into operating a casino. It's very well researched, very well thought. It's pretty accurate in terms of how the surveillance systems work, how the reporting systems work, how the operations of the casino go. So the insights are great. Plus, it's just one of the best movies of all time.
Of all time.
Yeah.
100%.
So no, there's a very famous scene in Oscars. You have to come and see it.
Yeah. I can't wait.
Yeah,
We're going there tonight. We're going there for our first dinner.
Where's the second one?
I don't know. Depends on how many jalapeno martinis I have. I live here now.
Where do you stay when you're in town?
Depends on wherever Las Vegas events.
We move them
yeah.
around all the time.
I'm essentially like a stray dog. They just got to find a spot to put me into here or there and
Okay.
not
With
take
good
too much
security.
blame. But if you're going where I think you go, I live at the Plaza now.
Oh, deal.
Yeah,
That's it. I'll meet you there for a martini. Then.
I want to go so bad.
So we have a podcast at the Plaza, and during the podcast we usually have a martini, and we film it in Oscars. So a martini, a podcast.
Why are we here?
Where's my martini?
I was trying to.
Oh.
I had a
was
whole bottle
working-
of Pendleton. I guess I missed the martini memo. I guess we don't drink a lot of martinis in this office specifically.
Because they hate fun.
Well, unfortunately,
And good
we are
times.
still on the clock. At least I am.
I've been on the clock since I got there.
What are you doing here while you're in town?
Just trying to stay out of trouble, apparently. So, this particular trip is pretty tight turnaround. We leave tomorrow, but Andy,
You
and
notice how he turned the interview around on us. and he's
exactly.
asking
Now
the
I'm like,
questions
oh my
now.
god, like, yeah. How much money do you make before tax? I'm like, $60. I don't know. No, so we kind of do this and then hang out, and then we get stacked with the interviews and try to get interviews and then roll on. But this is by far my most favorite interview that I've had. I'll say
In the last hour?
10 minutes for sure. I mean, it finally started getting good once the pickleball player came out.
Yeah. Well, no, we should have you guys come down whenever we can organize it to come see the Carousel Bar because it's pretty cool.
Yeah.
It's a fun place. We got little horses moving up and down, the famous lights, and have some drinks. So we'll start in Oscars and go down there.
Yeah.
Do they have
Drinks.
seat belts? Just, I mean, as the drinks
I'm
continue.
waiting
You
for the
can't ride the
first. I'm
horse.
waiting.
Oh, you can't ride the horse.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. never
I'm
mind.
waiting for the first guy who gets drunk enough to jump on.
I was gonna say,
I'll
I'm
be there
sure
in a
it
little
will
bit.
happen because it'll probably be Steve Goddard.
Yeah.
So
I'll
how-
make sure to video it for you
Please
so that
don't.
it can go
Please
viral
don't.
and
Yeah.
say,
This is
please
not-
do not. And then he can be like on the little screen behind the bar. And like instead of commercials playing when you have the sports up there, it'll just be Steve, do not do this.
yeah. And then
We are-
Oscar's gonna.
We're getting a giant 7-foot martini glass.
I will be in it.
And we're waiting for the first guy to jump in that. We're also having bets on that. So we'll see.
Let me know when it's
We're
there.
gonna jump on the horse from the horse into the martini
Te-
glass.
tease me with a good time. I will be there.
It is close to Fremont Street.
Yeah. No, that's great. So, can I ask you a personal question?
I'd love to hear it.
Okay. So you have 3 children.
Yeah. Do I have
And-
a favorite?
Well, if you have a daughter, I know the answer to that one.
Yeah.
And 4, I know, is the Mutton Buster. How old are your kids?
My daughter just turned 4. My son, who went mutton busting, is now 5, and my oldest son is 7.
Okay. So that's with what you're doing there. How do you find the family balancing act and all that?
So it's really difficult. Luckily, I have a great wife. I have to put that on the podcast.
Yes,
She's-
absolutely.
She's an amazing mother as well. But it's difficult because in the early days, the way to get into the casino business, I believe, is you have to live and breathe it.
Right.
You have to be in there every single day. So I would spend nights in there. And when I first moved to town and I was 23, you have to learn how Vegas works. So you got to go to the nightclubs, you got to go meet all the graveyard workers, all
Sure.
the different types of people that make this town tick. And so I spent a lot of late nights, a lot of days in the casino. There was a period of time before we did the remodel. I wanted to understand, when you walk into the Plaza, what's the first thing you see? What's the first signage you see? What's the first slot machine you see? What catches your eyes? What's your first experience? So I spent a lot of time doing that. And I think that helped me understand. And then also getting to know our team members. I just think you have to live and breathe the business. And I've seen that with the best operators, whether it's Michael Gorn or any of the others. They live and breathe this business. And they don't even see it as work. It's just what they do for fun, right? They go there, they're with their team, they're hanging out. And I love the business. So I wanted to do that myself. But to your question, once you start having young kids, there is that balance. And if you don't find that balance, you very quickly realize that you'll never see them because they're asleep when you get home, and then you're asleep when they go to school, and then that's it. And it's a horrible routine. So I try to do as many events as we can that they're part of, that they see. I want them to understand the business and what we do. And so I love it when we drive by the Plaza and they're like, Daddy's work. And they understand what's going on. But trying to find that balance is something that I'm working on, because I want to be there. I want to watch them and have nights. So for example, now I might not go in on a Sunday, even unless there's a big event, something happening. I'll spend Sundays with the kids, or like maybe once or twice a week, I'll try to get home at 4:30, 5 o'clock, spend an evening with them, even if I have to go back later on, so that I can have that time with them. But it's definitely, it's given me a lot of perspective, because it's an important thing to want to be with them and spend that time.
Yeah. Well, you're creating opportunities for other people to enjoy that balance through the things that you've done with your property, Jonathan. So we appreciate not only your time, but what you're doing for our industry, because it is something that is inspiring the next generation.
Well, thank you very much. And I realized when you said, let's just jump right into it, I didn't thank you guys for having me join you here. So thank you very much for letting me be on your podcast and share a little bit of insight into sharks, pickleball, and martinis.
Well,
and Burrivos.
Yeah, I can't wait to be pickled in a giant martini glass. So that's how we're gonna.
Well, we appreciate your time and thank you for joining us.
Thank you.
Awesome.
Want to experience more of the NFR? Then visit NFRexperience.com, and we invite you to subscribe to NFR Extra on Apple Podcast, Spotify, iHeartRadio, and wherever you're listening right now. If you like what you've heard on NFR Extra, we would love it if you gave us a 5-star rating and tell your friends how to subscribe.